Beverly Hutzel about if she is able and willing to meet with us about economic development and about the ambulance service projects. I'll let you know, or she may get back to you directly, Dave, because it went from you. Let me know if she does. And then we can move forward. If you so choose in the meantime to move forward, you know, if you want to fund the other projects instead and say, we're done waiting for DCED, let me know, we should do that. I do want to get the streets funded as soon as possible. So as soon as we have the streets list and we can get some fundability determined, we'll schedule a public hearing to allocate the funds to that project. It may be the next meeting. I think we have something on the schedule for next meeting that was supposed to be a CDBG 2013 thing, but that's postponed because the 2013 is currently postponed. But the one that is most is most timely is the street reconstruction projects. We need to get the money into that.
Refresh my memory, what'd you say about the sidewalk and curb fund, 50,000? Where was that?
That's 2012.
It's 2000,
Yeah.
that can be used anywhere?
That can be used anywhere.
Originally doesn't even Third Street.
That's where we're doing the survey though, North Third, right?
Right now, we are doing a survey of North Third to see if it qualifies. But it can be used anywhere, and you can put 2013 money into it to do, you know, other areas next time, and there'll be money left. It won't take all of that, I don't think, to do North Third Street if it qualifies. But we do need to get some of this 2011 money spent, especially because of timeliness issues on our contract, and if we can get the streets qualified and get the money moved, we can spend it there, so that's not an issue. And we can always put 2013 money into economic development to replace what we're taking out, because it needs to be spent now.
Would it be beneficial for me to maybe send a letter to those people on Third Street explaining what we're trying to do, so that, when, you know, understand we're trying to get new sidewalks and curbs up through there? Do we need that financial information?
For the ones that he couldn't
Oh,
reach.
no,
We
you
put
still got it.
postcards in the door, just tell them to call us.
Okay.
We'll give that a little bit, and if that doesn't work, then we'll talk about it, because I do have a form letter that generally goes out. If they won't respond to the door, I can send out a letter with the survey that tells them exactly how to complete it and why we need it. And we can put a postage paid envelope in there, and they can just send it back to me.
Yeah.
So if they don't respond to his postcard, we'll take the next step.
It's amazing how many cars are on that street though, because when trains are at Packer Street, everybody goes down. No
Oh,
service.
yeah? Don't tell anybody that. Sidewalks serve the people that live there. So that's all that I have. So right now, I just need the list of streets and that information, and then we can go from there. Everything else is not so timely as that street stuff.
And I'm assuming she'll let us know one way or the other in a couple of weeks if it's coming or not coming.
If she doesn't get back to us in the next week or two, I'm gonna call her. Probably next week I'll call her if we don't hear from her this week and follow up with
Because I
her.
do think eventually we're going to have to sit down and make a decision. 'Cause
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to. I mean, this money you're supposed to spend your CDBG funds from 3 years of the contract date on your activities. Now, 2011, we've already lost over a year waiting for HUD's decision on these facades.
Right.
So we could get more time if we needed it to spend the money, in addition to those 3 years, and they always give you an extension up to the 5-year term of the contract. But that's really not the point. I mean, we have to find something to do with the funds. They don't last forever, and as long as it takes to get a project underway and moving and done, we need to pick something soon.
We'll have something for you in a day or two.
Okay?
Any
Okay?
questions?
I promise you that.
Wonderful.
That's amazing.
All right, thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Anybody here SRI update? Yes, ma'am.
This month, we've been continuing the membership drive and have added probably about 20% more members than we had last month, so we're definitely making our way through, but we're still continuing. So if anybody knows anyone who'd like to become a member, please let us know. Spark is currently in the process of applying for monies through DCED and NAP programs for a project focusing on rehabilitation of a property in town. Hometown Veterans Banners. We currently have 42 new banner applications turned in and paid for. Last year we had 77 total, but we also have some people who are renewing their banners from last year. So anyone who had a banner last year is welcome to come in and pay $100 to rehang their banners from last year, or $200 for a new banner. And the deadline on that is March 22nd. So it's not this Friday, but next Friday. And I have to say that thank you to Sunbury Broadcasting, Daily Item, and the News Item have really helped push that out there into the news. People are aware of it now. T-Biz is currently in the process of getting 5 students from Shikellamy High School. In order to participate, we have met with the FBLA, the person in charge of the FBLA and the vice principal of the school. And so we do have some major interest there, but it's just meeting with students and getting them involved. Elm Street Hill Neighborhood, they are currently working on a grant to receive funding for rain barrels. It's sort of a pollution prevention reduction program, and also reducing rainwater drainage. So we'll be waiting to hear for that. We won't hear about a response on that until July. Okay. I also have a list of meetings. If anyone's interested in attending anything, please let me know. I can give you that list. Any questions for me?
How does the application that you're filing for benefits through Spark dovetail with what Jamie does at CEDACOG for benefits that might be out there? I mean, is this
What we
a
have
program the city could apply for example? Or do we have to sign off on your application?
Yes, it's actually a tax credit program, and so it's definitely the more partners, the better. What we have to do though is choose a property, come up with, it's a very similar process to applying for a grant, except that the primary funding comes from private businesses. And then that money from the private businesses, they pay us directly and then receive a tax credit back, but only after the project is approved.
Whose taxes?
The business's taxes. So they would pay us, they would make a commitment of 5 or 6 years at $50,000 a year, and then they would receive 75 to 80% of that back at their year-end taxes.
Would the city still get its tax money?
Yes, this is a,
You federal.
no, I believe this is a state program. So they have to have at least they have to be large enough to have at least $50,000 in taxes per year on average. Although they can delay that out, of course, they can use those tax credits over a longer period of time. However, that's sort of a generic guideline. So it's very large businesses that we're talking with to try and get buy-in for the project.
Okay. Questions? Thank you. Redevelopment Authority update, we met, I believe, last week, and I guess Mike, you have a few things that we have to address, some nuisance
I
property.
do. Just what I describe as housekeeping things. We have a list of several nuisance properties that we're adding to our list so that we can move it along to the next list where we do acquisition through the court system. I'll read off the addresses to you. The first is 312 South Front Street, 964 South Front Street, 28 Augusta Street, 737-739 Market Street. And these are properties that if you go on a tour, and we have Mike Rhodes here to describe them if you have any questions, but they're in pretty bad shape, so they just got added to the list. The notice that we put up, and Mike helps us to post them, is that the property owners can take a look at their properties, and within 10 days, they can fix up the properties, and if they fail to fix up the properties, then we can take it to the next step where we move towards eminent domain to remove blight.
Question?
Are we still gonna just, even though we have like a backlog of 25 houses now, I mean, what point do we
Put them on the list.
just add the list, and it could be 150 houses, if we still have a backlog, we're just gonna keep on adding homes to the list?
Well, what happens is people, actually, when this happens, actually people come out of the woodwork and actually take some of them off the list and do stuff with them. So hopefully the list moves faster like it did last year.
So for example, and it's helpful for the audience to understand, we had a high water mark of about 58 at one point, and then it's come down to approximately 25 at this point. So it goes up and down. It helps people pay
And
attention.
these are all vacant homes?
Yes.
All right? I make a motion, we need a second?
Second.
Excuse me. A nuisance property, okay? I'm serious. The Bittner Building is a death trap. I worked there, I was in 4 breathing treatments a day, I was in inhalers, I was in shots, I was in all kinds of prednisone pills. We moved out of the building, I'm down to 1 pill. People had lung infections, sinus infections, they had mold growing in the basement, they had broken air conditioning down through the walls. It's very dangerous. I just hate to see another person in there, that's all. It's just my input.
Okay, no problem, let's get,
I like
take care
to
of the
throw it
vote.
down.
Ister.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Persing.
Yes.
Shriek.
Yes.
Martello.
Yes.
Just give us your name, we'll get that in a minute, and then we'll have the code, we'll look into that address.
Okay, Ruth Reel, R-I-E-H-L,
Okay. And you're talking about the building at Fourth and Market?
Veteran Building, Human Service Building, yes.
Okay.
It should be tore down and one, two build a new school, get something safe in there. It has, they pump water out there, I think, for 2 weeks. I went by one day and they had the cellar open, had 3 inches of water, and the calc sat down there for years before they moved it. There's a lot of mold growing off the walls in the basement when they worked there, a lot of sickness there. I
Okay.
share that.
Anything else from redevelopment on Mike?
Nope, just need your signature.
Unfinished business, new business. How about the resolution for the sale of guns?
I have a resolution that I was asked to prepare, which I would describe as just a bookkeeping issue again. This handles a transaction which was negotiated between 2 police departments, between the City of Sunbury Police Department and the Shamokin Dam Police Department, for the routine sale of 2 shotguns. The price for the weapons is $300. This is what has been done over the years between municipalities, and this formalizes the process for City Council. I have a copy for everyone that I'll pass out for the resolution. But so that the public understands, and also this resolution will be available for the public to review. The third-class city code under section 36919 permits sale of personal property between municipalities. I explained in this resolution that this action does promote the public policy advantage of allowing weapons to be transferred from police department to police department to improve public safety. And finally, that in the future, the chief of police, although the chief felt that he had done all the paperwork just right by working with the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms regulations, that also the third-class city code regulations have to be followed too, and the chief would just let us know before doing these types of negotiation and discussion in the future, which I know the chief's nodded yes, and he looks forward to doing that.
Yes, sir.
So that's the resolution, but if anybody has any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them.
Only question, I think in the future, anything being sold at city property should come through council.
Absolutely, and that's what the rules say, Jim.
And we actually have an entire inventory now down in the office, we know exactly what that is. And so, yeah, this just makes it official what was done in the past, and the chief realizes what happened. And I'm not blaming on anything, just that past practice in the city, stuff like this has happened in the past, so as of now, we're gonna make sure that it doesn't happen anymore, and everything will be documented correctly.
Excuse me, wasn't that brought up at the council meeting one night? I remember that being brought up.
No, it wasn't.
Are you sure?
I think we had something brought up about handguns one time.
Yeah, and there's handguns that are, that's in a future thing, but this happened,
Last year.
yeah, last year before, yeah. Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the resolution. I need a second.
And who wants to comment?
Go ahead, Joe. Give it to Joe, he was first.
Snyder.
Yes.
Persing.
Yes.
Shriek.
Yes.
Martello.
Yes.
Ister.
No.
Approval to pay vouchers, Todd.
Yes, the liquid fuels voucher report, as well as our standards payables reports would have been sent out to everyone by email. Looking to get approval this evening to make payable in the liquid fuels account, $6,127.19 worth of outstanding bills. And then in our standard general fund, make payment of $25,692.19 worth of outstanding bills. Make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Persing.
Yes.
Shriek.
Yes.
Martello.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Tax exoneration, Todd.
Yes, in everyone's folders this evening, again, you'll have the standard report outlining requests for exoneration of taxes. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the request as noted and the amounts shown.
True,
Yes.
Bartello,
Yes.
Ister,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Persing.
Yes. We'll get near the end, but I just want to announce now that as soon as this is over, if you guys could just hang around for a little bit, go down to the office, just have an executive session, talk about the police contract a little bit. Audience comment? Anything specific? Yes, sir.
Yes,
Just please identify yourself for the recording.
my name is Drake Saxton, I'm a property owner and just outside of Sunbury, actually. I have a question as to, well, actually three questions. One is, can you comment on the, how far the new city plan has advanced, what you next have planned to continue to implement that plan? And I have two other issues, one being the lack of code enforcement in the city, particularly regarding the Moran site, and whether you're going to be updating the code as suggested in this plan.
Well, let me address the first question, since that's the plan. So the plan, everybody has access to a copy of the plan, so every department's going to use what's in that plan, or should use that for their direction. The only thing I'm involved with the plan right now is with the redevelopment authority, and the redevelopment authority is going with that, and we talk about neighborhoods, and we talked in the past about maybe construction, rebuilding new neighborhoods, addressing the blight, which is addressed in that plan. So there's 100 things in that plan. You'd have to ask everybody here, and specifically their departments, if there's any part of that plan that they're using. That's what it's for. That's exactly what it's for. But personally, it's just right, to me, it's the redevelopment authority and what they're doing in their quest as far as that. So, and you guys want to answer anything to add to that? Okay.
Well, there appears to be a wide variance from the plan and what's happening on that site right now. There have been numerous code violations, things that have not been enforced. And I have a long list. I've given them to you, Mayor Persing, you've seen them.
And I've given them to the code office to answer, yes.
Yes, and I think it would behoove the city to begin to enforce the code that they've enacted. Obviously, you've enacted those codes in order to advance the city's cause and to protect the citizenry of the city. So those things need to happen, and I guess I'm asking, is it going to happen, and when?
Well, you get your request to us in writing, we'll get it to the code office, and like I think in the past, these people have answered your questions, and we'll answer whatever new ones you have.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, you said you do have a list?
I met with him one time, he gave me a list, and I forwarded it to your office.
Okay. I'll have to
That's
get it- I'll have
been-
to get it from Mike then.
Yep, that's
Do
been
you
a
have a
while
list,
back.
or you don't know about a list?
Does Joe have it?
I have no idea.
So would you like to get that list again to
Yeah, we
Joe
might need that
Bartello?
list
and-
again.
I will get it to Mr. Bartello.
Yeah, get Mr. Bartello, who's in charge of that department, and let him handle that, please.
That was what, 3 months ago we met? 3
Yes.
weeks maybe, something like that?
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Cora Campbell. I would like to know, do we know why they're bringing that ground in and building that road up so high up there? Every day, almost every day, there's dump load after dump load of ground coming in, and they're building the road up real high. Now, there's nothing else going on in the site. Clean Harbor, it looks like they moved out. Minuteman isn't dumping, but they're continuing to build this road up. Why, does anybody know where that's coming from, or why they're building that road up so high?
I don't,
Is there a permit?
well, I don't know if they're not building anything. When you talk about building a road, what road? They've already built the road.
They're dumping ground, and there's a front loader there banking it up, and it's getting higher and higher, and they're going all the way around. They're going in there by John Street, there by the Ford Motors, and going back. They're building the road up high.
You mean the
They're
bank
dumping a
up
lot,
high?
they're dumping a lot of fill. in
Fill,
there.
just moving fill around.
They're filling in the lot, about 4 foot high.
Okay.
I
That's
don't know where
another-
it's coming from, but it's all different colors, and I don't know where it's coming from, but it keeps coming.
So do they have a permit to do that land disturbance?
Mike, is there a permit required?
No, it's open space. They're not doing anything constructive,
Okay.
other than filling in. Originally, when Moran first took that site, that road that they were constructing was a part of the plan initially from the get-go. That was presented to planning the whole 9 yards. That was when the initial complaint came from the Fifth Ward group about all the traffic on Julia Street. They come up with a plan to get the traffic off Julia Street, and that part of that plan was that road, which is a porous material, which is really.
You know what they're putting in there then? If it's
Yeah, they
porous.
have, I've been in contact with Mr. Stroman, they have waybills. I have never seen a waybill, although Mr. Stroman tells me he has
Do we know where that fill's
waybills.
coming from? We know where that fill's coming from then? We know what, if it's clean
It's
fill?
other than a quarry, that's all I can tell you.
It's not a road, it's a whole lot.
They don't need stormwater plan when they're changing the drainage with 20,000
Because it's a porous material,
They're not changing any drainage.
Right.
The same amount of area.
Not changing the drainage when they
The same amount of area, they're not expanding
Unless
anything.
they pave it, they would
Right.
open some of their country.
It's filling in a whole lot.
Actually, Sunbury's code does say that before any grading can be done, permit is required, and that's on my list. Also, the stormwater management plan that's being discussed here, I don't know how many people are aware, but DEP has required Norfolk Southern now, they have filed an application. It has numerous deficiencies, and I have filed with DEP the deficiencies of that permit, but a stormwater management plan is required. It is required by the city of Sunbury because of the square footage, not open space, but because of the square footage. If you examine your code, you'll find, number one, they haven't gotten a stormwater management plan permit, they haven't even applied for a permit. Number two, no permit's been issued. Number three, according to Sunbury zoning, present zoning, a stormwater management plan maintenance agreement must be in place prior to the time of fill or any activity on the site. No engineering has been done on that. All of those things are required. And those were some of the things that I was referencing in my question. The subdivision prior to, there's a subdivision up there with Norfolk Central. You had Minuteman on site, you had Clean Harbors on site, and a subdivision plan, according to Sunbury zoning, must be filed prior to allowing those people to commence any activity, and they've been having activity for several years now. So none of those things have been done.
I don't think they're owners though,
It is not required of owners. Mr. Moran is who would have been responsible.
but I also don't think they're there anymore, are they?
Who?
Clean Harbor.
Those people that you just mentioned.
Clean Harbors has withdrawn their permit as of the
And
end of
Minuteman
January.
hasn't been around in
But my,
years. They have a building up in Montana now, right?
Minuteman, yes.
Yeah.
But my point is, all of those entities have operated on the site without the proper permitting. Zoning hasn't been enforced. No permits have been issued, which all those required. Now you have illegal fill and grading going on. Again, no permits have been applied for. The city has not issued any permits. And that is all illegal activity. All of those things.
When
Or
Clean Harbor
things,
found out they couldn't get the permit, that's what they picked up,
They would do it,
correct?
beg your pardon?
When Clean Harbor found out that Moran lied to them about having the correct permits, and when they tried to get it and couldn't get the correct permits, that's when Clean Harbor picked up and moved out, am I correct?
That is correct, but there have been a lot of misconceptions about the site. Clean Harbors did intend to put evaporation pits on that site and evaporate VOCs into the air. And those of you who doubt that, I have a letter.
How?
Beg your pardon?
You know that how? They never applied. Well, let's do it this way. We're gonna address your concerns. I don't agree with them, so you know, everybody has their opinion, you have your opinion. Like Clean Harbor went into an existing building, there'd be no reason for any subdivision, never changed anything. Buttercrust Bakery was now, Bitbo's is in the other building, that was fixed up. This is just another part of it. I don't believe they need another stormwater management thing, but we will definitely check what you say here tonight in the record, or get your list again to us so we can get it to Joe if you didn't have it, and then we'll go over and get you answers for the next meeting.
I actually have the permits with me that DEP is requiring them, and the permit they've applied.
Sure, this is all new stuff, that's what I'm saying. So if DEP is giving them permits, that's their access, but what they're doing in the city of Sunbury.
City of Sunbury also requires that.
Over anything 20,000, anything over 10,000 square feet, and they're remodifying 20,000 square feet. So they should have it, but we haven't been requiring things of people all over.
John,
the
will you
city.
review that and see what we call for?
Mike, I have to take a look at council.
All right, we appreciate that, John.
Thank you, John.
And
I'll have an answer for you next meeting.
To answer your question as to how I know that, I'm referring to a letter of January 11, 2013 from the city of Sunbury. And in the letter, I'll quote, it says, "In the December 11, 2012 meeting, a question was asked what the position of zoning officer would be on a stabilization and oily water sensor separator unit with a caustic scrubber system being installed." That is what I'm referencing, and that is what that is, and is what that does.
And that is exactly what Councilman Troop said they couldn't get because of our zoning, so that was never an issue.
They couldn't get it, but that was their intent
Well,
for
their
the
intent of
site.
getting is two different things, and that's why they're not here no more, because they were not gonna get that as long as I sat here at council.
I am glad to hear
Well, they
that.
couldn't get it
There's no
anyway, 'cause
way.
that's our
There's
ordinance.
none of us up here who wanted that, and when they found out they couldn't get it, that's when they picked up and moved. And that, to me, they did us a favor.
But we asked
Okay.
repeatedly here in council, was that, what was going to go on there? What was their
They had a
intention?
meeting, so if anybody was here at that meeting when Clean Harbor first came in here, and had DEP here and had all the permitting guys, and I think a lot of these people said in that meeting that they told us exactly what they wanted to do. I mean, they had some kind of big tub they wanted, to clean film, clean oil contaminants and all that. So that's when it all went downhill after that, when we said, hey, we don't want this in our town, and we all fought for it.
And had they ever applied for that, you would have known that.
Yes, and they,
Because that's what we said here, every meeting,
Moran
every
misled them before
application's
them,
ever put
sir.
in, we told you about.
I think Moran misled them, said it was gonna be okay to do it, and it didn't come.
I believe
They're
that's
gone,
true.
so, they're out of here, so that's not even a worry to us.
Any other questions?
Yeah, could I,
Yes,
could I
sir.
get a copy
Identify
of
yourself,
the
please.
list of blighted properties?
Please identify yourself, please.
Gordon Lamb.
Okay, now what's your question?
Could I get a copy of the list of blighted properties that you currently have?
Yep. Not right now, but
Yeah, again,
please,
from the clerk's office maybe tomorrow?
Well, Terry's not in, her father passed away. I would say, come to the beginning of next week, we'll get them for you.
Okay, next week, that's fine, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Yes, sir.
Dean Marshall, has anyone in any department on the city council initiated any kind of studies as to what kind of fill is being put on the site? You know, what that comprises? Because where I live, the last hydraulically fractured well pad that was reclaimed found out that tons and tons of the rock that sat under the leaky liner for 3 years is now on the mountain right behind my house. They've got a lot of this material that they're trying to get rid of, and if city council doesn't know what is being put in the city by truckload after truckload, that seems like they ought to find out.
I thought, Mike, didn't you say they had waybills?
Yes, when I talked to Mr. Stroman, he said he'd have waybills.
So we could get those waybills, and you know where it's coming from.
I think they should be examined.
Mike, can you get those this week? Try to call them and see if we can get those this week?
Sure.
All right.
So we'll have that next meeting for you too. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is a different matter altogether, but the Chestnut Street, you said you were gonna see about that with them crossing, older people are going back and forth on the line, and you said you were has checked with PennDOT, and I called PennDOT, and they said the city, was notified about it, and I didn't know if they were gonna do a feasibility study about putting a permanent line through, even happened to my brother-in-law, where they're waving back and forth, weaving in and out. And if you're gonna have more people in the city, it's more of a hazard. We don't have many people here now, but in the future, with having more people and more businesses coming in, it might, if it happens in 2 in 1 family with people weaving in and out, causing an accident on Chestnut Street.
Towers?
Yeah, Chestnut Street down through, putting a yellow line through so that you don't have vehicles weaving back and forth, possibly causing accidents. I mean, we don't have we have a low population now, but later on, we'll have more people coming in with businesses, and I just thought, PennDOT said they did call the city, but I don't know did you know what happened with that, or?
They called the city.
To see about the feasibility study and that, they said they called the city, but they didn't want to go into what they, called about.
Well, that's not a PennDOT street.
But yes, but he's the one that told me that PennDOT should be notified about it.
No, they don't call me. I agree with you, what you're talking about. I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Diane Whitmore.
I agree what you're talking about. And this is one thing I want to talk to Jamie about, because it's, I think, the street that I want to rebuild and redo.
Yeah.
So when we do that, putting a line down the street might turn into a racetrack more even more than what you think. But, I know what you're saying, but some parts is wide enough to do it, especially up around Chester Street Towers. But then somewhere down around between, Third and Fourth, I think it narrows pretty good there and between.
we have parking.
Well, that's why
Where
Mr.
parking
Hussein
is.
thought that PennDOT should do a feasibility study, because he's one who told me PennDOT should be involved with it. That happened at the other meeting a couple months ago. It's been a while, so I can understand why you didn't recall it.
Yeah, I know you said, and I will look into that when we redo this.
I appreciate that.
I'll
appreciate
think of that, okay? Thanks.
Megan?
I just want to make a comment in regard to that. I think that part of that might be being addressed through what's called the Wolverton Street project, which is currently being worked on through CEDACOG.
And that's between 10th Street and Market Street, that part there.
That'll make that one, and there will be some sort of striping right there at 10th Street, because they want to divide that road off. If you want to go down and say that Chickland, you're going to bury your right, so I know there's going to be but I don't know how far down you're going to get it, because it's like Kevin said, once you get down.
It's gonna narrow a
it
little bit
narrows
out,
down.
yeah, it's gonna narrow out because there's gonna be a walkway on the other side of the, on one
Okay.
side of the highway. So
Alright.
that section there is gonna get a little narrow.
We're gonna be
I
one
appreciate
lane there.
that.
Yeah, I think we're down to what, 12, 14 feet, Jim, or
Like
something like
14.
that?
14.
It's gonna be 12, 14 feet wide.
Okay,
So
cool, thank you.
that's gonna narrow that down tremendously.
Okay.
I
Todd?
have another question back here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Last meeting, we discussed the new member on the police department, the dog, I recommended his name.
Mhm.
And you had indicated that you would be able to tell me what kind of certifications and credentialings that the dog had, and whether or not he was gonna be strictly trained as a drug dog?
No, he has 3 or 4 different ones, and it's all, he has to be certified, everything that he's certified in, he has to be certified with Officer Hawes.
And that is what?
Drugs,
Okay,
crowd control, and at least those 2 things for sure. But again, he has, just because he was certified with somebody before, doesn't mean he has to be certified with his trainer now, which is Officer Hawes. It's my understanding that's 2 to 3 months, correct me if I'm wrong.
so, at some council.
We're gonna use them mostly for drugs, what we went in for. Go ahead.
Okay, and is that gonna be like a partnership with Northumberland County or wherever?
No,
you
it's not
see-
doing that. That dog belongs to the city of Sunbury.
Okay. Would it be possible to have him at the next council meeting with Officer Hawes to introduce him to the public?
We did a thing with the newspaper. I'm sure we can get him one. I don't know for a fact, I'm not looking at his schedule, we can get the next one, but we'll make a note to make sure to get into one of the next few. Let's do it that way.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is
Yes, ma'am.
he also, Jam, donkey, is he also gonna be a bite dog, what they refer to as a bite dog, for crowd control and going after people that are running? Like bad people?
Yeah. We're going to send it into like a building, like a building after somebody? Yeah. You go. Republican energy, is that?
Yeah, it's actually,
Okay. Is that for the public? I'm sorry, go ahead.
presentation for.
All right, go ahead, Lynn.
Stick around.
Yes, ma'am?
Becky Enders. I travel Chestnut Street to Woodlawn Avenue to go to work. And you're cutting this down to 1 lane on Wolverton Street. I don't know how many people go out there in the mornings and in the afternoons. There are school buses that pick up handicapped kids out there, and they stop. The driver gets out, they go in, get the handicapped kids in, till they get them down, get them in the bus. Some of them are in wheelchairs. It ties up a lot of traffic, and some of us have had to find alternative routes to go to work. Oil trucks are another thing, that if there's cars parked along there, they just stop and run the hose through to fill the oil tanks.
Well, they did that in the past, but they won't be able to do it now. They won't be able to double park, they'll be blocking the road, and the police won't allow that to happen.
What about the school buses?
Well, they're gonna have to wait for the school buses, but this, this was a couple of years they spent putting this study in. There was a lot of public meetings, a lot of discussion, that was all discussed in the past. I guess we have to look at the other people that complained because it was a speed race out there all the time, everybody passing everybody, so that's the intent. The intent will be with the new parking and the new street lights and everything, it's a 1 lane street, it's 14 foot wide, so nobody's gonna be passing anybody.
You can't pass the school bus with a double lane anyway, then, yeah.
Well, that's true too. No,
I
that's
don't
true.
think you can. I mean,
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
On Route 15, you can't go run the school bus.
All righty? Okay, Mr. Shear? Mr. Shear here?
That's actually Alan.
I'm sorry. Alan? There you be, sir.
Yes, I am here. I am not Mr. Shear.
Okay, I'm reading what's on my thing here, I must have the wrong name, I'm sorry. You must have made that up for lack of.
Made that up, yeah, if you don't know who's coming, just make up a name.
What is your name?
Absolutely, my name is Alan Mulder.
Oh, yeah.
That's not even close.
No, not even close.
Okay, Alan.
Mr. Shear, I do know who Mr. Shear is, so he does exist.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The floor is yours.
All right, let's try to figure it out then. Thanks.
There you go. All right, first I just want to thank the council. Do you by any chance have another copy of that presentation? This is a long presentation. In the interest of time, I won't go through the whole thing, okay? Although, who is this woman that was? Jamie? Jamie. I'd love to have her on our team. She can cover a lot of information in a short period of time. You guys would all love to have her instead of me going through this. So basically what I'm here for is to talk to the council about, I don't know where to stand, to talk to the council about what Phillips can offer to the city, to Sunbury. And we have a pretty unique approach to lighting system energy management type projects. I see that you've already done some energy management type work here. This building is already very much efficient, but you know, we can talk to you about what the Phillips Energy Services offering is, and that's what this presentation is. And how much time do we have?
10 minutes.
15 or 20.